Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into something we all deal with, hypocrisy. We're going to explore it through what Islamic teachings say from Qayyim.com.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, might seem a bit unusual, but you'll see. The insights apply to everyone, no matter your background.
Absolutely. You see, on Qayyim.com, they frame hypocrisy, or nifaq, in Arabic as like a spiritual disease. It's about this mismatch between what we say and what we do, like our intentions versus how we act, you know?
So not just making mistakes, it's deeper.
Yeah, deeper. It's beyond just doing bad things. It's about authenticity, or rather the lack of it, that disconnect between who we say we are and how we actually behave.
Makes you think, where do we see this play out, like daily? Qayyim.com talked about lying and breaking promises. They give this example of a guy promising to help his neighbor move, then forgets.
Classic. That's a perfect example. It shows how hypocrisy, that nifaq, can be in small things, seemingly small. It's not just the broken promise itself, it's that you know you're not being true to your word, that inner conflict.
I think we've all been there, on both sides, really. You get let down by a broken promise, it stings.
Exactly. And Qalam.com points out, even these little lapses, they wear down trust over time.
Each time it's like chipping away at yourself.
At your integrity, yeah.
Makes me think of trust in a broader sense, too. Qalam.com talks about betraying trust. And it's more than just spilling secrets.
Oh, absolutely. Way more subtle. Think about sharing something confidential or gossiping about someone.
Behind their back, yeah.
You're saying you're trustworthy, but your actions say the opposite.
It's a mismatch. And that can really hurt relationships, right? Makes people unsure if they can rely on you.
Once trust is broken, rebuilding it, that's tough.
Really tough.
Yeah.
Okay, so we see how this affects, like, personal stuff. What about arguments? Qalam.com talks about that a lot.
Right. They highlight the hypocrisy of arguing just to win, you know?
Yeah.
Not to understand, to actually have a dialogue. Like on social media, those heated debates.
People trying to score points?
Yeah, it's all ego then. The whole point of talking is lost. It raises the question of intellectual honesty. Are we open to other views or just defending our own no matter what?
That lack of openness, it blocks any real conversation. Walls instead of bridges.
And there's the hypocrisy. You say you're open-minded, tolerant, but then you refuse to even listen to different views.
You're not living up to your own words.
Exactly.
So it's not just what we say, it's that willingness to have honest, self-reflective talk.
Yeah, admitting we might be wrong sometimes, that there's value in listening to others, even if we disagree.
Humility. Speaking of image, what about this? Showmanship, wanting praise. Seems huge now with social media and how we present ourselves.
Oh, for sure. It's natural to want people to like us, appreciate us. But Qalam.com is cautious about letting that become the main thing that drives us.
So it's not wrong to want to be liked. It's when that's all you care about, more than being genuine.
Right. You start doing things for likes or followers, not because it's truly you.
Performing instead of living.
There's the hypocrisy, that disconnect between the image and the reality, the public persona and the private person.
Right, right. Okay, on to something that might surprise people. Qalam.com talks about being miserly, stingy. I'm guessing it's more than just money.
You got it. Money's part of it, but Qalam.com says it's also about holding back in other ways. Time, attention, kindness, even emotional support.
That's powerful. We think of generosity as just stuff, but it's so much more.
For sure. You can say you care about someone, but if you don't give them time, energy, is it really generous?
Like just saying the words but not backing it up with action.
There's the mismatch, the hypocrisy. True generosity in any form, it comes from wanting to share. Abundance, not fear.
Not holding back.
Right. And that kind of giving strengthens bonds, makes connections deeper.
So we've gone from breaking promises to being stingy. Hypocrisy's everywhere.
And it's not always big lies or huge actions. It's the subtle everyday things where we might not even realize
that our words and actions don't match up. So it's so common. How do we even begin to see where we're falling short?
It starts with being self-aware. Qalam.com really pushes that, looking inside and figuring out what's driving you.
So not just going through the motions, but like, why am I doing this? What's behind it?
Right. If you're always on social media wanting validation, maybe ask yourself, is this just wanting to be liked? Or is there some insecurity under there?
Digging deeper, huh? Not just the surface stuff.
Yeah. And that can be tough, being honest with yourself, even when it's not pretty.
Like looking in a mirror, see the good and the bad.
But that's where you grow. When you're self-reflective, you can start making choices that match what you really value.
Okay, so we've spotted where hypocrisy might be sneaking in. we're more self-aware. What then? How do you actually change these patterns? They feel so stuck sometimes.
Qayyim.com says it's a process, not a quick fix. Be kind to yourself, No beating yourself up over every slip-up.
So ditch the guilt trip and be more understanding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're all works in progress, right? You're going to make mistakes. It doesn't make you a bad person.
That's easy to forget. You mess up and think, what's the point of even trying?
That's the hypocrisy trap. It's about saying, okay, I messed up there, but I can learn and do better next time.
Giving yourself permission to be human. We're not aiming for perfection, just to be better, little by little.
That's where authenticity comes in, showing up as your true self, flaws and all.
Easier said than done, though, right? Takes guts to be vulnerable, let people see the real you, especially when everyone's supposed to be perfect these days.
Oh, absolutely. It's a journey you keep discovering and growing. Not always easy, but the payoff is huge.
What's the payoff then? What's good about being authentic?
Well, first off, you get inner peace. When your life matches your values, you feel whole, like you have integrity.
Everything clicks into place.
Exactly. And that peace, it shows. It affects how you are with other people.
Because you can tell when someone's faking it, right?
Yeah.
It's like a wall between you, no real connection.
Yeah. You're right. Authenticity, it builds trust. You can have deeper, more meaningful relationships.
Letting people in instead of keeping them at a distance.
Right. And those connections, they're vital. They give you support, encouragement, a feeling of belonging.
So it's not just about being good for others' sake. It helps you, too, to be authentic.
Exactly. It's a win-win. And it starts by looking inside, checking your motives, and making those small changes that lead to walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
What really struck me is that we all struggle with hypocrisy. It's not about judging each other. It's realizing we're all in this self-improvement thing together.
Well put, the more we're open about it, the less power it has over us.
Creating a space where it's okay to be real, to mess up.
That's where real growth and connection happen.
Wow, this has been eye-opening. I'm already thinking about my own life, where I could be more genuine.
That's fantastic. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about constantly looking at yourself and improving. Little choices every day add up.
And giving that same kindness to others. We all have blind spots. We all screw up.
Absolutely. If we're empathetic and forgiving, everyone feels safer to be themselves.
This deep dive has been so insightful. I feel like I get hypocrisy in a whole new way. It's funny, as we're talking, I realize hypocrisy isn't always on purpose. Like sometimes it's those blind spots, right? Or just habits we've never really thought about.
Yeah, you can be on autopilot, totally missing how you're not living up to what you believe.
So it's not about blaming yourself or anyone. It's about becoming aware so you can make better choices.
Exactly. Be curious about why you do things, and don't be afraid to question those old assumptions that might be leading you astray.
Like Qayyim.com calling it a spiritual disease, huh? Not that you're bad, but something that needs care, like any illness.
And just like that, catching it early is key. The more you ignore hypocrisy, the worse it gets for you and the people around you.
Okay, so where do we go from here? We've broken down hypocrisy, seen how it shows up, and talked about authenticity. What can our listeners do with this?
Here's something to think about. Look at your life relationships, work, your values, and ask yourself, where could I be more authentic?
That's a big question. It's like taking stock, seeing where your inside and outside don't match up.
It's not about changing overnight. It's those little changes that make you more true to yourself over time.
Like fine-tuning, right, until the sound is just right.
Exactly. And it's a journey, not a finish line. Be patient with yourself.
This has been so insightful. I've got a lot to think about. It reminds me, we're all growing. We can all become more authentic.
Well said. And the more we do that, the more genuine our world becomes.
What a great thought to wrap up on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into hypocrisy. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep striving for that authenticity.